Good morning, Crafty Peeps. Welcome to our second September Craftology box tutorial. Our first one we had on Facebook, where we made a jumbo tag using our Julie Netting Scully stamp, which is available in Tamara's store at www.countrycraftcreations.com. It's not an add-on because actually it's on clearance, but I just want to let you know that she still had a couple of those available from what I know, unless she's already sold out. But anyway, we have our Haunted House paper collection by Carta. Totally love this because it is retro and it reminds me a lot of the old Scooby-Doo. So I love it. Now let's get into the tutorial that we're going to do today. We're going to do our add-on kit, which is the Haunted House. So let me go through some of the pieces first that are part of our add-ons. We have our Bo Bunny Black Gesso. And we also have our white crackle paste, which is going to give us some of that old, spooky look on our little pieces here that we're going to put together. Now, the Haunted House is made by Heart of Texas Studios, and thank you so much for Pam and her husband for making this for us. I absolutely love it. Now, it will not come gessoed. I already gessoed mine to let it dry overnight. You don't have to let it dry overnight, but I just wanted to get some of my pieces going ahead of time. But I will show you how I use the gesso myself. So basically, I did the inside of mine all black, and actually I used a dark purple. Hold on, let me grab that for you. You don't have to do this, but I wanted to use some little battery-operated candles on the inside of it, okay? So I thought that would give it that extra creepy look there. So we have, it's called Dioxine Purple. This is by Golden Artist Colors. It's a paint. It's over in the fine arts section at Hobby Lobby, okay? So it's not in the scrapbooker section, but it is over in the arts. So I basically did the whole inside of this. And then I went ahead and went around my entryways, like my windows and doors, okay? Just to make sure that if I goofed up on cutting my paper, that they would just see black and not this, okay? So what I love about this is that it is already pre-scored for you. Is this not super easy? I love, love, love this. Very awesome that Pam's husband really got this set up for us. So super, super simple. We're going to use our art glitter glue from Tamara Store as well. And in case you're not familiar and you're new to my channel, I am on the design team of countrycraftcreations.com. Their website is www.countrycraftcreations.com, and Tamara Merrill is our owner. But I just call her Tammy. So here is our rooftop, which is also pre-scored for you. And let me grab my mat just because my score pal has the measurements on here for me. It is 9 by 8 inches, okay? And let's go ahead and get the width of the house as well. This is going to be 5.5, and the height is 8 3/4. So it's a really good size. And I'm also going to paint the inside of this black as well. But I really don't think they're going to see the inside at all, possibly. So we'll see. But I may as well just do it anyway. Then we have our shutters and our door entryways, okay? Where there are the door shutters as well. This, I just used my X-Acto knife, or whatever you want to call it. This is not an X-Acto knife. It's really a box knife. But box cutter. And see these little things here? You'll see them once you get your kit. I just kind of like chip it there and, click, just kind of, not click, cut here and there on each one of these. And then we have our little wood cover-ups for the windows as well. I went ahead and painted a couple of these just to see if I wanted to paint it before or after I cut them out, and I think I decided on afterwards, and that's why I stopped. So I went ahead and I just kind of also used my razor blade on these tiny little things here too as well, so that I could just pop it out. Then they actually have a ghost, a witch, a bat, and a cat. And as well, in this little baggie here, there is a little light lamp, okay, little light post that is already in black chipboard, so that's awesome. You don't even have to paint that. And then you have 3 different size pumpkins. So you could actually have a stacking pumpkin along the side of the house, which is what I think I'm going to do. I think that's super cute. But anyway, you'll have those. So I'm going to put these back in the baggie so I don't lose them. Now, one thing I do want to do is pop this out because this is actually the base of my house as well. So let me just go ahead and trim this. Just not trim it, but just cut there. So that'll pop out nice and easy. Oops. I gotta stop hitting that. And I'm sure you could use scissors with this too as well. I mean, you know, this isn't too difficult. Okay, so let me do this a little bit more. I guess I missed it. Now, the base I'm also going to paint as well. All right, and then this easily, you just bend these over because they are already pre-scored for you. Doesn't that make it super simple? And then I'm going to paint this black as well on the inside and the outside, just to have my base covered up. You know what I'm saying? Then we have our base piece that's going to go in front of our house that this piece will actually sit on. So it actually turns into a rectangle. And once we get to that, and also I'm going to bend this over on its score line. I think I'm going to paint here and here black, and then I'll do this up with the decorative paper as well. This they're not even going to see, so do not worry about painting this part. But I would paint the back black, okay? So all you have to do is use your black gesso, and you can either cover this with paper as well, or you can also cover this in black. I think I'm going to cover mine in black because they're not really going to see it, so I'm not as concerned about that being decorative. And then here is our crooked little chimney. And I will say just that it seems a little complicating, but I'm going to show you where you will understand it, and it's pretty easy to put together. But anyway, those are our main pieces that we're going to put together. So I'm going to go ahead and put up my little box cutter. I'm going to put this to the side where I'm not going to lose it today, I hope. And I'm going to grab my rooftop of my house. Okay, so yesterday I did start painting, as we know. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my little paint here. And I'm sorry, you're going to hear some crackling noise. I do apologize for that. I'm going to move this off here because I don't need it. Don't need my mat at this point. I'm sorry, but you know what? I have so much packing paper from my move that I don't, I just want to use it up. So I'm going to use a pretty fat brush here, okay? And hopefully this one's going to unstiffen for me. I guess I didn't put it in enough water. And I'm going to get out my gesso. And I'm just going to go ahead and start painting it. And then as I finish each piece, you could use a sponge as well, actually. It doesn't have to be a brush. The sponges, I love those because they're disposable. The only thing is that the sponges do soak up more paint than an actual brush will, and so a lot of times you could be wasting paint, and I don't like doing that. So this gesso is nice and thick, and I only have to paint this one time to get it all covered. So that is nice. And I will say that this paint is thick, so you feel like you have to use a little more pressure on your brush, which is true, you do, to get it to move and smooth out. But if you leave it thick, you're going to see all that thickness as well. Let me go ahead and get this little bit there that I'm missing. I'm going to lift it with my finger, try not to get any paint on me. I'm going to go ahead and get these sides as well. Just think about any edge that they could possibly see. You want to cover that with the paint, especially the edges. Because I am going to be using paper on this, but not on the bottom half. And all the pieces that we're going to paint black, we're going to do that now. So I'm going to go silent. Actually, what I'll probably do is stop the video so that we're not wasting time on the video. I'm going to show you all the pieces that I'm going to paint black. So it's going to be the base for the window part. I'm going to paint on the front side this right here, and then on the back side the whole entire thing. I'm not going to worry about this little edge right there where it folds over. Don't worry about that. And then I'm going to paint all of this as well. Okay. And you probably don't have to worry about these edges. If anything, I would just do it kind of like, you know, worry more about this little edge right there. But other than that, don't worry about it. And then, of course, I'm going to do my black cat and my bat, my window shutters, and also my little window boards. I'm going to do that as well. And I might mix the gesso, the black gesso, with a little bit of brown to give it more of that wooden effect. But as far as the window shutters, I'm going to keep them. Now I'll add in the brown with that too. Okay, so you can mix whatever paint you want together to create whatever colors you're interested in. So it's just up to you what color you want your house. And I'm also going to go ahead and paint the entire outside of my chimney, only because I'm worried, you know, about putting the paper on at this point. I haven't really figured that out yet, but I'm thinking we should do that first. So anyway, I'll be right back once I'm done painting everything. And I'll show you how I'm going to add on my extra white crackly paint and stuff like that next. I apologize. I wanted to let you know before we go on any further, on these thinner pieces of chipboard, what I want you to do before you paint the other side, let it completely dry. Because if you get these too wet, and I always use a dry brush. I always do the dry brush. That's where you don't put it in water. You just put it straight into the gesso and apply it on here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this one aside, okay, and let it dry completely before I paint the other side. Because what happens is the thin chipboard will turn into mush, okay? And you don't want that to happen because it's basically paper particled together, you know, and mushed together to create the chipboard. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish this up and I'll be back. Okay, another thing too, for the bottom of your haunted house, where it folds over and folds down, what you're going to want to do is go ahead and make sure you get your paint in there as well, in those little creases, because they will be able to see that. And then another thing I didn't realize when I said not to paint the tabs, on the outside of it, you do not have to paint the tabs, but on the inside, paint the entire thing, okay? Because once you slide it in and you glue it into place, they're going to be able to see this little edge here, and so you definitely want to keep it uniform and have it all black, okay? Unless you plan on covering the inside of your haunted house with paper as well. But for me, I'm not going to because you can't really see that as much. So I'm more concerned about making the outside look decorative so I can save paper to make other projects. But that is completely up to you. So I'm just going to set this aside to dry, and then I'll work on the inside of it. Now, for, like I said, this piece, you only need to do the outside of it. See, it's already kind of flimsy, and I haven't even wet my brush at all. That's just going to happen. So here we are. I've done I should have just done, I meant to do the inside of my house. What was it? No, that is, yes, sorry. Okay. I apologize. That is the inside of the house. So here, now that this is pretty much dry right here in this little area, I'm just going to paint here. Okay. And along my edges, just in case I miss anything. You know, it's better to be safe than sorry, because I don't want to paint on top of my paper. So just do the little edges here. I mean, you could paint the whole thing, but, you know, hey, I try not to. Try to save my paint. Definitely want to make sure you get the little edges, which this is going to be easy because this is very thin chipboard. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom of this. That's okay. I'll do the whole thing. It's just a small little spot. Okay, and just set it aside to dry. Make sure you take off any excess paint, because then your paper will not lie as flat. I'm going to set that aside. And then here's my roof again. I'm going to cover up any spots that I missed. And I'm going to flip it over. Okay. So now it would be like this. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and put black on the inside and all my little edges around here. I'll do one side so you can see, and then I'll go off camera. Oh, another thing too is while it's drying, if you've already painted in these cracks, go ahead and let it dry standing up, okay? I'm just going to flatten it for a second so that I can get this. But then I will put it in that upright position. Because what happens is once the paint dries, it's going to stick together. And when you try to break it, break it down to fold where it should, it'll tear. You don't want that to happen. Here we go. So now I'm just going to let that dry just like that. Make sure I really get in there. Might even do some white crackle paste on this once it dries. Alright, so I apologize for my computer. It's blinking out on me. And so now for this last piece, like I said, go ahead and bend here. Okay? And keep it bent. Don't put it back into place, because you don't want it to dry the wrong way. Now you're just going to paint the whole entire inside. I probably should have started with the inside first, but I goofed. Alright, I'm going to go off camera now and I'll be right back. Okay guys, you're going to need 2 sheets of decorative paper that is 5.5 by 6 3/4, and I'm actually going to take a sliver off of each side just a 1/16 of an inch, which is right here on this first little line there. And then again on this side as well. So 2 sides of it. Okay. Then you can just trash that. All right, and then I'm going to, I don't want you to glue this together yet, okay? Make sure you wait until you have it papered first. It's a lot easier to do your cutting, etc., and manage that before you actually glue it together. But what I am going to do is go ahead and distress my sides here, and I'm going to do it with black. In case you are interested in getting some black distress ink, Tamara does have Prima distress ink in black, and I think it's called Ebony. I could be wrong, but I think it is. I'm really wanting to go pretty dark on this. In fact, where's my little mat here? Let me grab that out. And we're really going to blend this in. And do the same on this side. I just love how these brushes work. Okay, so I'm just going to put this to the side. And I'm actually going to switch out my 4-pile board. That's my newer one, and I don't want to get it dirty just yet. Okay, so this is a couple things. There are a couple, not this. There are a couple things that you can do. I'm going to grab some washi tape. So excuse me if my voice is disappearing. And I'm going to grab my worst washi tape ever. The one that doesn't stick very well. Okay? So I'm just going to grab that out of here. Let's see here. Oh, these are pretty cruddy. Okay, so anyway, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to lay out my little house. All right, and this is going to be my front. And I'm just going to line this up where I want it. Okay, then I'm going to take my washi tape. And I'm going to put this on here just because I don't want it to, see, I'm telling you, the washi tape doesn't even want to stick to the paper. I tell you, that's some really sorry washi tape. I'm just going to stick it there. Then I'm going to flip it back to the front. And I'm going to get out a little black pen. If you are really good at, you know, you could go straight with the X-Acto. But I don't trust myself, okay? Where's where's my pen? Oh, I'm sorry, I put it up. Okay, and I'm just going to trace these windows. Okay. Now I can go ahead and remove it. And then what I like to do is I like to do a little crisscross. Okay. In the center here, so that I can take my scissors and cut around this. Okay. I know that I'm going to mess up with my X-Acto knife. I'm not perfect with it. Some people are really good at it. I am not. So I like to make this little X. And let me zoom up a little bit. Okay, so if you can see this, you can see my little lines there, okay? And this is where I can pop my little scissors through there. And then I'm just going to follow along my cutting line. In fact, you can go a little bit outside your line, just as long as you are able to keep it pretty straight, because when we did trace it, it was not flush or in perfect measurement. So I'm going a little bit outside my lines. There we go. And you know what? My cutting doesn't look perfect. This is a haunted house. Okay? It's supposed to look creepy and crazy. So I am going to use my distress tool and fix that. I'm going to distress around it and make it look really ratchet and crazy looking. But this is what I'm going to do for these two. And then I will be back with our little tree tops, or what I call them, rooftops, excuse me. Okay, which will be this one. And then I'll be right back, all right? Okay, so I just want to show you, I actually took my Tim Holtz scissors and I basically just, you know, did it real lightly just to kind of rough it up, because actually my distress tool would not fit in there. Maybe the Tim Holtz one will, because it is smaller. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to go ahead. I just want to make sure, for me personally, before we move on further, that I put it on the right one, because who knows? I don't know if the windows are different on this side. So I want to go ahead and use my art glitter glue. Okay. Uh-oh. That's what happens when you forget to put your pin in there. I'm just going to lightly apply my glitter glue kind of everywhere. Trying to focus on these edges so they don't peel up, because when I store it later on after Halloween, it'll still remain intact and not get ripped. Okay, so that's kind of your main thing, is you want to keep your edges down. Okay, and I just line it up to there. Okay, and use my bone folder to burnish it in, and I use a dry wipey to wipe up any excess glue. Remember to focus around your windows, trying to get those nice and smooth and down really well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this other one, and then I'll be back. Okay, well now that I have my two sides done, now we have our two larger sides that we need to cut for. So this is 8 3/4 by 5 1/2, okay? So I've picked out the other pattern paper that I want to use, and I've decided that it's going to be this one. I love this side, but okay, I really want to keep with the black and white theme here. And also this kind of has that little gothic look to it, so I think it works pretty well. So I'm going to score it at 8 3/4. 5 1/2. And then I always do it this way. You don't have to. 5 1/2. Get out my cutter. It's always hard for me to see the line, so I'm going to put it on this side and see if I can see it better. Yep, and I can. So I'm just going to line it up there. And I'm going to save this for a card. I always save all my scraps until I'm completely done with my whatever I'm going to do with this kit. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to take off a 1/16 of an inch on each end here. Again, I'm going to save that because that's cute. Okay. Whoops, I just left my ruler. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and ink my edges, and then we're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to trace it. I'm going to tape it and trace it. That's kind of what I do on these. But with the rooftop, instead of cutting it with scissors, I'm going to use my cutting board. Let me go ahead and ink these up, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. I just want to show you that I've already gone ahead and done one part of the house with the pitch right here, okay? And so I went ahead and started on the second one. And all I did was trace it, and as you can see here, you can see my little lines where I traced it. The only thing is about this one is it's a little bit tricky. There's a couple things you could do. If you have a circle die that matches this, and I believe it's about 1 inch, then you could go ahead and run it through your cutter and do, you know, your e-bosser or your big kick and cut it out that way, and then it would be like a perfect circle. Or you could do it my way, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to go ahead and make another little X like I did on these. Okay. And then I'm just going to go ahead and cut around here. And again, I'm going to go just a little bit outside of my circle. Just to make it a little bit bigger. Okay. And then I'm going to get my cutter. And for my pitch, I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit on the inside of the line. Okay. And cut. I'm actually going to save these. I might use them for something. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to re-ink these little edges here. I'm going to work my way a little bit in here, a little bit. There we go. Just enough. Okay. Now I'm going to get my Tim Holtz scissors because, like I said, my little thingy ain't going to fit in there, my Prima tool. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and maybe I'll do it from this side. Might look a little, no, I like it on this side. Now it's not going to look like a perfect circle this way, and that's why you may want to use a die, circle die. But for me, this is an old house. I mean, if this was like something shabby chic or whatever, I definitely would use the dies for that. I'm just going to go around and then I will finish these up and then we'll start putting together. Well, we don't even have to do that. Actually, we need to do our roof first. So we'll go ahead and do that. But I'll be back. Okie dokie pokies, we're just coming right along with this project, and it's been pretty darn easy. So basically, I'm going to need a rectangle 9 inches by 8 inches, okay? So what I decided for my roof is that I want to use, I hate to lose my little, I call them seance cards, but my alphabets. But I really like this pattern for my wreath, okay? So, let me go ahead. Hold on. Let's see if I can get away with using the bottom. That's what I want to use. I'm going to say... No, because I want my rectangle this way. Okay. So I'm going to do 9. Yep, 9 by 8. Good thing I stopped at the 8 because I was thinking it was 8.5. Okay, so 9 by 8. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave it this way because I don't know what I'm going to use next. So I'm just going to leave it like this. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. I know I'm not making any sense to you right now. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. And what I'm saying is I'm going to leave it like this because I don't know if I'm going to use these or I'm going to use this and I don't know if I need the stripes this way or this way. Okay? So I'm just going to leave that like that. And then it should be at 4 inches. I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Okay. I think I'm able to see the pattern a little bit better on this side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 1-inch strips. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Okay. And now at this point, I'm going to put this mat back up here. So my little beasties are going to be coming home soon. I always call them my beasties, but I love them to death. My children's. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start right up to probably about 1/8 an inch. I'm just going to cut it up there. You don't even have to. I'm going to do different sizes, you know, because I know that this roof is going to look old and beat up. And that's what I'm trying to do. And some of these, I'm going to cut different sizes as well. Some of these I'm just going some crazy directions. I'm going to do all my strips like that, okay? And then hopefully this will form my roof. And then once I've completed this, okay, sorry, once I've completed this, I apologize that I'm not totally focusing. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and throw those away. That's just trash. I'm going to distress this really dark, okay, because I really wanted an almost black roof, but then again, I really liked this pattern as well. So I'm just gonna distress it up a little bit, okay? Trying not to rip my paper in half, okay? Go ahead and pull some of these shingles back. You know, make it look as creepy as you can and as old and ratchet as possible. Go ahead and use your distress tool and get this rough looking. You know, have a field day with it. That's, you know, what Halloween is all about crazy antics and old and beat up and crusty looking. Okay. And I'm just going to do this with all these pieces. And then for my roof, I'm going to start out at the bottom. I think I made this a little too long. How strange is that? Well, that's okay because I could probably use this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go a little bit over my edge. I hope I'm explaining this because I want to be able to see this hanging off the edge, all right? Let me get out my glitter glue. Whoops. And I'm going to line this up here. I'm just going to burnish it in. And keep these little edges here. I apologize I messed up on the measurement, but keep these. You might need them as fillers, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. And I'll come back once I'm done with the first half side so you can see kind of how I'm doing this. See, I'm just getting crazy, guys. I'm really just roughing this up. You know, don't worry about it. You want it to look crazy. Okay? You can even crinkle some of them up. Looks like I need a little more glue there. I completely missed that part. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep going, and I'll be right back. Okay, I wanted to come in here a little bit and show you that I decided to cut some of these apart a little bit because that way I had a little bit more control over the direction of the paper and make it look a little more crazier as I go along. So I'm just, you know, like this one, I want it to go down a little bit, you know, at an angle, just to make it really look kooky as as I can possibly get it. And that way I can get in here and work with some of these a little bit. So I just want to come in here and tell you all that. So it's completely up to you how you want to do your roof. But that's how I'm doing mine. So I will be back. Okay, so our roof is finally done. Now we can start putting on our acetate windows. And it should be about 1¼ inches. I'm going to say 1½ by, let's see, I think these should be 2 inches. Let me just double check real quick. Yes, the largest one, I mean, 2 inches is going a little bit over, but we need 2. So I'm going to take my, what did I just do with it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Phew, you can't really see it. I'm going to show you with one of them. So I basically have it at 1½ inches now. And then I'm going to cut it to 2. And this is basically what you're going to do around all the windows. So you're going to do a light, and I know that was a little heavy, guys, just saying the truth. Okay. And then you're just going to lay that on top of there. And you're going to do that on all the windows. Of course, these will be smaller. These are probably about, I would do 1½ by 1½. And of course, these are 2, but still, I would just stick with the 2 inches. That way you've got it all the way around. And if you were going to cover the inside as well, once you have these plastic windows on, then you can go ahead and cover the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of these, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so we have this really cute like portrait page, and I'm thinking I might use some of these in my little windows. Maybe this little ghost right here. I think that would be super cute. So let me see if I can find my round punch. I think the only one I had was my scalloped. My other one kind of fizzled out. So basically I'm just going to kind of pick some of these out and then glue them on before I start closing up my album. In fact, I don't even really need this little piece on here. So I'm just going to show you this real quick. And, you know, it's completely up to you what you want in your windows. Like, see, this little guy might be cute right there in the window. I don't know if you can see, but I'm thinking he's going to be cute right there. So let me go ahead and do that. I don't want to cover all the windows up. I think I used a little too much glue on this guy. So let me go ahead and clean some of this up and wipe some of this up off here. But I think otherwise we'll be okay. Yeah, that looks pretty cute. Let's see here. I kind of like the Bride of Frankenstein. And where did my scissors go? Oh, here they are. And Frankenstein. So I think I'm going to use both of those. Or maybe so I don't use as much of my paper up, I could just use Dracula. But don't forget, some of these windows are going to be boarded up. So you may not want to completely cover up all these windows. Like maybe we can have this one, oops, this guy up here. Let me just double check to make sure he's gonna show through. That looks good. So let me just get the bottom. Right around that edge. Yep, that looks pretty good. And then I think I'll do Dracula right there. Let's see. There we go. That looks really good. Okay, so at this point, these will dry on here. So I can go ahead and start putting on my boards. Okay, now this is completely up to you. I was thinking about on some of these, I wish I had a like a wooden type either stencil or a stamp. And I'm just going to see if I happen to have one, because that would be really cool if I could kind of stamp that on to make it look a little creepy. And let's see what we've got here. So I'm just going to look through my stamps real quick and see if there's anything. It is not looking like it. Oh well, that would have been cute though. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of my crackle paste on some of these. But you know what? Actually, I can just go ahead and glue some of these down first. That way, I'm not making a hot mess. So, like, I think that, or is it like that? No, it's definitely these. And so if you kind of offset it a little bit, then I think it'll look kind of creepy. Like this one's kind of fallen off. Oops. I got on the wrong side. I'll put that one a little closer. So it's basically just kind of putting these on a little crazy like. I'm going to move on with Dracula. And it was a good thing I remembered to flip it over. So on one of them, when I was painting them, I knew one side was going to be, you know, opposite of the other. So I automatically knew to go ahead and paint those up. Let's see, this one, I think I'm missing some. It could be that this window is supposed to be boarded up. So let me look through my stuff here. Well, you know what? I'll just wait. I'll just keep moving along so that we're not here all day. In fact, I'm probably going to go silent and speed through some of this so that you're not bored. You know, every once in a while I have one like completely off its, you know, completely off where it should be. It's looking pretty good. And then once I let these dry on here, I'll go ahead and put that crackle paste on to give it that old creepy effect. And I'll put that one like that. Okay, now that I got all of those on, I know there's got to be these around here somewhere. I just don't know where. So I'm going to go ahead and start, you know, maybe I should like board this up. That kind of looks cool. So we'll kind of board up the door. Maybe we should have it this way. Let me see. Yeah. We'll just keep moving along. And like I said, I'm not really worried about the glue. It's going to dry on. Maybe I should kind of put it like this. And anything that needs to be wiped up, I'm going to go ahead and get that done, so I don't have too many glue marks here. I'll do this one right here. Oops, hold on, guys. Let me wipe that up. I think I'm going to keep these kind of over here. Whoa. I'm getting crazy with this glue, huh? Okay, so I'm going to let these sit here and dry, and then I'll come back and do my crackle paint. So I'll be right back. For this little front piece, I decided to continue on with the same pattern as what I did for the roof. I just really wanted it to be cohesive. So I will be right back. I'm going to go ahead and do that and glue those little pieces on here. Again, I'm going to leave this black right here. And of course, we have our inside black as well. And then I'll be right back. Okay, so now we come to the pretty easy part. This is putting it together. Right now we're just going to glue this piece here. And I'm going to use my art glitter glue if it'll come out. There we go. I'll use a pretty good amount. Don't get too crazy now. Just going to line it up. Okay. And then I'm going to hold it down for just a minute, or you can use some clips. I don't know where mine went, so I'm not going to use any. And then while this is drying over here, okay, I'm going to move this over gently to the side, and then we're going to work on our base that goes to this, okay? So this is pretty easy. It's already pre-scored for you, all right? And we're going to, I don't know why it looks so weird though. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull these little tabs in here. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. This is the best thing to do. This is start with these little triangular tabs. Okay, and I'm going to close this up and oops, move it up a little bit. And I need a wipey. Hold on. Let me get one of my old wipies. Oh, here we go. Oops. So again, I'm just going to hold this. Wipe off your excess glue. Then again, I'm going to bend these tabs in. And I'm going to go ahead and apply glue along here. Okay. And just keep holding it. Just make sure it's lined up properly. And then again, well, why not just do it just yet? Let me wait a little bit longer for this to dry. Kind of dry on this end, but it's not on this end. So I'm going to wait a second here. Adjust it as needed. And you may need to do some paint touch-up too as well. So I'm just going to keep holding this in place. It's an awfully humid day. As you know, we're having our Hurricane Harvey. It's kind of passed over us, but it's on its way to my Texas friends, so I'm hoping they're going to be all right. Just going to tuck it in. And again, hold it into place. Wiping off any of that excess glue. I'm going to push that one in a little too far. See if I can adjust that. Yep, I got it. So it's just kind of playing with it. I really wouldn't use a glue gun. You probably could use your score tape. I just don't because, you know, it's so humid here that the tape would most likely lift. And then it should line up. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe it goes like this. Anyway, I'll be right back in a second. Oh, no, I'm not. I lied. Now that this is dry enough, I'm going to go ahead and put glue on my sides here on the inside. I just figure it would be easier this way. I'm going to use a good amount because I don't want it to dry too fast. Keep holding it in your hand because otherwise it'll collapse on each other. And then it will accidentally close up. So I'm just going to put it on its side. I'm going to try to do this all at one time. Okay, let's try it this way. Come on. Seriously? Now it's just going to take some coercing here. But you can get it done. It's almost like it's, there we go, got it. Oops, let me fix that little corner there. Add a little more glue. And then on the inside, I'm just going to make sure that all the tabs are pressed down in there. So I'm going to take my bone folder on each corner and press it down. There, now it's looking super cute. And at this point, we can now put on our roof. I am putting it on, gluing it here too as well, but I'm not sure if it's going to stay. And so I'm going to put it on its side so I can guesstimate, where it's going to go. Okay. And it's looking super cute. Let me move it over just a little bit. That looks about right. Uh-oh. Okay. So now, while that's drying up, okay, I'm going to start on the chimney. Or actually, we can add this on here now. You just got to decide where you want this. If you want it at the front of the house, what I'm doing is I'm going to kind of put it right here at this, at the front door. I know it's kind of hard for you to see. Maybe I should wait for this to dry up. Let's do the chimney first because I can't really lie it on its side. Where did our roof go? Here it is. And I was going to paint this all the way, but I wanted you to see what I'm doing, and I figured it would be easier for me to do it this way, okay? So, we're going to start off with these pieces right here, okay? Because that way I find it easier for you guys to understand the concept of this. So literally this is going to be bent in like this. So here's the wider side, and this piece is going to be bent in. So it's going to look something like this, okay? Then I'm going to take these little tabs right here. And I'm probably using too much glue, but, and I'm going to go ahead and use this one and this one. And it should pretty much go into place. Let me just do a little bit at a time. Obviously, it's a little cranky. Okay, guys, sorry. No, I'm going to let that go. Just scratch what I just said. Okay. For the rooftop, we are going to start with this piece right here, okay? That is the very tip of the roof, and I think it'll just be easier to work with that first. So I'm going to do this little triangular tab and this one. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm holding this here, trying to wipe off my excess glue, and then I'm going to take this flat side and I'm going to line it up as well. As you can see, it's already starting to try to take shape itself. Okay, so I'm going to hold these here. This is a little time consuming, but you know what? It's going to look super cute when you're done. So don't even sweat it. And I'm also going to apply some glue in here, and this is where that metal tip really comes in handy for that one little tab that I missed. So when I lie it this way, it's going to look like this, okay? Now we're going to take this next little small triangle. Here's my side. I'm going to take these two little small triangles and I'm going to apply a little bit of glue there. Okay. And I'm going to tuck them in. Like, and I guess I'm going to have to do this one as well, which it seems to be sticking. Come on, work with me. Okay. And hold it with my hand. Until it's strong enough to stay by itself. And I'm going to do the same exact thing on this side. I'm going to take these two tabs. And apply my glue. Okay, I'm going to push that in. So you see now on sideways, it's starting to take shape. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and add glue into this tab. Let me pull this up with my finger. I'm still holding it down. Okay. And I did way too much glue there, but that's okay. Just wipe it off. So now it should look something like this. I'm just going to keep holding it. And again, I'm going to put glue on all these 3 little tabs here. This is the bottom of it. Bottom of my chimney. I'm going to tuck it in there. I'm going to fold that over. So now I should have a nice perfect little rectangle right there. Okay. Keep on holding it. And then, sorry, my hands are so full of glue, and so will yours be. I'm going to start pushing all these tabs down. Okay. So I'm going to start off with these 3. 2, 3. In fact, we may as well just go ahead and get glue on all of them, because at this point it's probably just going to work itself in. Okay. As we're moving along here. Don't forget to tuck that one in. This one's kind of odd, but it works. And I apologize for all the glue all over my fingers. But no one said crafting is not messy, because it is. Stay in there. Come on now. Work with me. Okay, oops. Whoa. Okay. Now you just kind of hold it into place. Look at all the glue and paint and everything else on my fingers. It's looking crazy. And then I'm going to gesso this once it's done. But I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to paper it. And then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to stick with the black chimney. It's looking super cute. All right, so now we have our little door front. I'll be back in just a second. Sorry, let me readjust my camera for you. Okay, sorry about that. So there is a longer side to your box. So what you're going to want to do is add glue here. Okay. And this is just like a little rectangular box. I don't know if I'm making any sense. But I'm going to lay this on here, just right on top. And I've kind of bent this a little bit. I bent it right here and right here. Okay. And then I am going to add some glue here. Then I'll have to kind of hold it down. I'm going to have to play with it. Okay. So here I'm going to get my little box. Okay. My little house. And I'm going to hold this piece out a little bit further from the side of the box. I hope I am making sense. Okay. Because what's going to happen is it's not going to lie flush. Okay. So I'm just going to hold it. So now it's going to look something like that. Just going to keep on holding it until it's dry or close enough to where I can let go. Okay, and then it will just set automatically out by itself. I wish I could show you, but it's kind of like this. If I put my hand underneath here, then it kind of stands by itself. So it's pretty darn cute. Okay, and then I am going to paint my little, need to fix this up a little bit. My chimney. Let me add a little more glue in here. And hold it into place. But I'm going to get my little spatula. Let me cover up my glue here. Okay. I know my whole little area is like a hot mess, but I use my little spatula. Okay, well, I guess I'm not going to use my spatula. I'm going to use a little brush. Okay. So normally I would use a spatula here at this point, but oh no, there it is. Oops, I found it. Okay, I apologize. Now, if you have some really cool stencils, this would be awesome. I do not have one, so I'm just going to kind of like, you know, and kind of apply it on thick, because you really, if you don't, it won't crackle, okay? Okay. And I'm just going to kind of give it that little spackle effect, although it really doesn't need it because it will crackle itself. But I'm wanting this to look really rough, okay? I'm going to do the same thing on some of my boards here. And since it's so white, I probably will come back in here and use like a kind of like a vanilla ink to kind of rough that up. And this will like crackle within a few hours. Again, it's supposed to look old and stuff, so I'm just going to keep running it all over these in just a random pattern here. Nothing too specific. Maybe even under the house a little bit too. And then I'll flip it over and just continue on. And don't forget to close up your stuff real tight, because your crackle paint will dry up really fast and then it'll be ruined. So just make sure you store it properly, and don't ever store it in a really hot place or in sunlight, because it'll definitely dry up then. I made that boo-boo one time and I just wasted all my product. I was so sad. It wasn't Bow Bunny, but I mean, still, it's pretty much the same concept of no heat. Okay. Might even do some of this along the roof as well. To stay with that old vintagey look. I have to kind of hold this in my hand, but I can do a little bit here as well. I'm just going to do this whole entire thing in this crackle, even on the side here. Anything that can pretty much be seen, I'm going to crackle it. Crackle it and spackle it. Okay. And then let me get the other side as well. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. And what I'm going to do is come back in with kind of like, maybe I'll do the sepia ink. I think that'll be best to give it that old crazy look. And then that'll really bring out the crackle. All right, so I will be back once this dries up. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and paint my chimney and glue her on there. Okay, so I'll be back. Okay, so right now I'm going to start working on painting my embellishments, and I did a little bit of painting, but I want to go ahead and add some more. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I need to poke out the little eye of my ghost here. And it'd be really cute if you have like little small eyeballs or something that you could stick in there. I know they have like really tiny ones that are like in the millimeters, so that'd be cute to put on there. But if not, you can just leave it like this. You know, you can still see through it. But you might want to add a little bit of gray in here, or you can mix your black gesso with white paint. But in the meantime, I want to go ahead and start on my pumpkins so I can get those. And what I've decided is that I'm going to layer them and stack them up, and I thought that would be the cutest to do. And I didn't put any gesso on this. So I'm, ooh, yeah, I probably should have. Looks like I'm going to have to do a few layers of this, but I'm just going to get started to show you kind of how I do this. And then I usually take a fine black Sharpie or black pen and, you know, finish it up by doing my detail on the pumpkin, because I'm not the best fine with painting. It's really hard to do fine lines with a paintbrush. That's all I gotta say. Some people are really good at it. I'm not gonna lie and say that I am, because I am not. And then I'm just going to put that to the side and let these dry for a few minutes before I add on my second coat. But in the meantime, I can kind of start working on my witch here. And so whatever I want in orange, and I'm thinking her hair would be really cool in an orange color. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. I'm going to try to get in on the sides of it as well. And I can see that earlier I missed some of the black hat, so I'll have to go back in and fix that up. But as long as I keep on building on that, it should get pretty close to the color I wanted. You know, this is not going to be perfect unless you're a really good painter, which I'm not, so I'm just going to keep on layering. This is the difference with using this little craft paint versus gesso or you know, fine arts paints, is that they're thicker and you don't have to layer it as much. But this is okay, you know, especially when you need a lot of colors and you want them pre-made. You know, doing these little art paints, craft paints, are really helpful in that aspect. I just have to say that. So I'm not going to dog on too much. Okay, so I'm done with my orange for the moment. So I'm going to close that up because I want to go ahead and work on another part of the pumpkin, which is the stems. Excuse me for the clanging noise. Kind of wipe my brush dry. Probably be better if I use a smaller brush for this part, but I don't feel like switching it out. So I'm just going to keep on going. And it looks like this green is even thicker. Maybe I should have shook up the orange a little better, and it probably wouldn't have been so runny. I think I'm going to do her face green, of course. And probably her little hand. So right now I'm just kind of like using the very tip of it. Come back in and do the stems again. Sorry that I'm stuttering. I don't know what my problem is today. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this up, and when they dry, I'll come back on and I'll show you you know, kind of how I do my drawing. And, you know, either you can use that information or just toss it and fast forward through this. So anyway, I will be back. Okay, I'm back. So I kind of got like this, I don't even know what you want to call it, but this is from the Halloween stuff at the Dollar Tree. And it came in a long piece of it, kind of like this. And I just cut up a little of it to kind of give my house a little bit of a creepier look here. So I'm going to take it to the front of my house. And I'm going to get my glue gun. I'm going to try to do this where if they're looking directly at the house, I mean, if it's up on a shelf, they may see it. But that's when you might want to be patient and use your, whoa, art glitter glue. Okay. So I'm just going to do a couple dots, and I got to kind of work quickly, like I did about 3, up on the top of the roof. And then I'm going to lightly push this in here without burning myself. I'm going to attempt not to burn myself. And then I'm going to do the same thing, oops, up here. Don't do too many. You don't want it like, you don't want a lot of glue noticeable, okay? And with this being black, you should be all right, but just in case. And you can either leave your glue strings on there and make it look creepier, like some sort of spider webbing, or you can pull it off. That's up to you. Oops. All right, so, and I'm just going to let it hang down. So now y'all can kind of see that. And it's just kind of like, I mean, now we're just embellishing it, you know, have fun with it. Get creative, you know, it doesn't, if this is your thing, and you can do it as spooky or as not spooky as you want. Okay. I guess mine's starting to look more like a hanging vine rather than webbing, but we're gonna keep this up. We're gonna try. But I'm just gonna keep on adding this on. Sorry about all the paint on my fingers, but I'll be back. And I may even glue this down. I think I'm going to. Let me go ahead. I'll do 2 big drops. I'm going to hold it in place just because I don't want it like bobbling around a lot. And look at how the crackle paint finish looks. It's looking good. I have not used my Prima Sepia ink on it yet. In fact, you know what? While we're doing this, let's see what it looks like. Sorry. Whew. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's like perfect. Oops. Some of it will chip off. That's okay. Just do it lightly. Don't get crazy. Especially on your little wood pieces. Be really gentle on those because you don't want them to fall off or be damaged in any way. Not really wooden, chipboard, excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and do the roof as well. But anyway, I'm going to finish this up and I will be right back once my other piece is dry. Okay, so now the front of my house is looking ooky spooky. Let's do a little close up there. Isn't it cute? And then here's the back. There's Dracula. I'm just loving this. This is so freaking cute. Okay, so I'm going to use my Cricut chimney now. I'm going to go ahead and place it on here. I don't want to place it like that because then they're not going to see that it's crooked. So I'm going to try to find a flat spot, and maybe I should do it back a little bit. Nah, we'll do it up a little higher. I'm going to use my glue gun. I'm going to be generous, and I'm going to press it down and hold it into place. I'm absolutely loving how this is turning out. Okay, so then I have my little bat, and I added a little bit of purple on there right on top of the black because I wanted him to stand out a little bit. And I think what I'm going to do is on the side of the home, I'm going to like put it like a family crest or something. I don't know. Who knows? Creepy crest. So I'm going to get my art glitter glue. And I even painted the back just in case I was going to have him up high. Because you could, well, let me see. We could do that. What if I put him up here? Nah. I'll just keep him over here. Get my glue here. I'm just going to put them right in the center where that line is. Again, I apologize for all the glue and paint and everything else on my fingers. But I'd have to run to the bathroom and wash my hands like every 10 seconds. And I don't feel like doing that right now. So yeah, that looks cute there. Let me just hold it down a little bit more. Make sure it stays in place. It looks good. Keep holding it, do. And then for my pumpkins, let me grab a pen. I've got it. Here we go. Sorry. So I'm just basically going to go around the pumpkins just to do some outlining of it. I'm going to go a little bit darker in here because that's where there would be a shadow. And I'm just going to put like a curve where there would be the natural pumpkin curve. And it kind of shows you in the little dips on here. Okay. And I'm just going to do a little line at the top to meet. And I'm just going to do that on all of these. Oops. And I mean, you can just go as detailed or as little detail as you want. And I think I'm just going to stop there. And then now I'm just going to stack these on top of each other. I'm just going to use my art glitter glue to do that. Oh, now work with me. See, and now we have our stacked pumpkins. Maybe even have that one a little bit off to the side. And for my black cat and my ghost, I have a chalk pencil, or at least I thought I did. Hold on, let me look in here and see if I put it in my little Halloween box. I guess not. Okay. Let me see here. I guess when in doubt, get your gray paint. And that's what I'm going to do. You dry this brush off as much as possible because, like I've always said, I pretty much do dry brushing on my chipboard elements. And this is actually a chalk finish, so that should be okay. It's a little bit dried up here. What happened? Alrighty then, I guess I accidentally left it open a little. So for the ghost, I'm going to do him a lot of gray, okay? I'm going to let a little bit of the black shine through. Put this aside to dry. And for the cat, I'm just going to, you know, go a little bit along the sides. Give him a little bit of definition, or the edges, shall I say, not the sides. Just so that he'll stand out on this little black background that I've got going on here, okay? Alright, so I'm done with that. Easy speasy. So for the ghost, I think I'm going to have him, you know, hanging out over here. Now let me do the cat first. And I'm thinking he should be, I'm going to hold him into place. Well, I thought I was. You know what? Let me use my glue gun instead. Let me wipe off this glue. because my glue gun is going to be pretty immediate. And then for my ghost, maybe I'll have him flying over here with his friend. Or I could have him up here. Yeah, let's do him. Well, I don't know yet. I do know that I want my pumpkins up here. And I may have that. Yep. I'm going to put that right here. And I left a little space gap under there. Use a little bit of my glue gun. Oops. And slide it underneath there. I'm going to bump it right up to the edge here. Oh my goodness, this is looking so cute. I can't get over it. And then I'm thinking I might have the ghost right there. Just do a little bit of glue at the bottom of it. Oh my gosh, I love, love, love this. Okay. So we've got a cat. Last thing we need is our witch, which I haven't finished painting him yet. But you know what? I will show y'all some photos at the very end. I mean, basically, this part is up to you. This is where you're going to embellish, and I hope you all enjoyed the tutorial. I cannot wait to see what y'all have done with yours. So definitely, please share it on our Facebook page, Scrapbookers of CountryCraftCreations.com. And if you haven't ordered any of this, please visit www.countrycraftcreations.com. And I did want to add in here, in case I forget to put in my little notice, I thought the white crackle paint was on in the add-ons. It is not. So, but you can still order it on the under Bow Bunny. Okay. So I hope you all have a wonderful and fabulous weekend. Bye, y'all. Mwah.